Does federalism change with congressional implied powers? Imagine a nation where the balance of power constantly shifts, adapting to new challenges and innovations. This dynamic nature of governance raises an intriguing question. Does the structure of federalism alter when Congress exercises powers that are not explicitly listed in the United States Constitution? To understand this, it is essential to explore the concept of implied powers and their impact on the division of authority between the federal government and the states. Implied powers are those not directly stated in the Constitution but are considered necessary to carry out the explicitly listed powers. These powers are derived from the necessary and proper clause, also known as the elastic clause, found in Article 1, Section 8, of the Constitution. This clause grants Congress the authority to pass laws deemed necessary and proper for executing its enumerated powers. Over time, this has allowed Congress to adapt to changing circumstances and address issues that the framers could not have anticipated. The use of implied powers has historically expanded the scope of federal authority. For example, in the case of McCulloch v. Maryland in 1816, the United States Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of establishing a national bank, asserting that Congress had implied powers to create institutions necessary for executing its constitutional responsibilities. This decision reinforced the idea that the federal government could expand its reach beyond the explicit text of the Constitution, as long as the actions were in pursuit of constitutional objectives. This expansion influences the nature of federalism by shifting some authority from the states to the federal government. When Congress exercises implied powers, it often results in increased federal influence over areas traditionally managed by state governments. This can lead to a more centralized form of governance, especially when federal laws and regulations become widespread in areas such as commerce, civil rights, and environmental protection. However, it is important to recognize that this does not fundamentally change the constitutional framework of federalism but rather interprets and applies it in a way that allows flexibility. The balance between federal and state authority remains a subject of ongoing debate and judicial review. Courts often evaluate whether Congress's use of implied powers exceeds constitutional limits, maintaining a check on federal expansion. In conclusion, while the exercise of implied powers by Congress can lead to a broader federal influence and a shift in the practical application of federalism, it does not fundamentally alter the constitutional structure. Instead, it exemplifies how the United States Constitution provides mechanisms for adaptation and growth within the federal system, ensuring it remains responsive to the evolving needs of the nation.